Hello. So this video is going to be about changing your bearings on your wheels, how to clean them. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about axles, especially the FR skates axles and the frame themselves. When you get the FRs, the holes are going to strip when you put the tool in them. Sometimes they come in like really tight, but ultimately they're going to strip. A better bolt than the stock FR axle would be the Cymatic axle. They still do strip, and that's because they are also aluminum. And if you worked on cars before, you know that they always stripped. But the frames from FR, I had the threads come out like clean from the side or the outside wall. So I had to drill a helicoil by drilling a bigger hole. But I made the mistake of listening to Copilot in Gemini, and they told me that a certain size, which is M8 by 1.25, would be the right drill to drill a hole for the helicoil. But as it turns out, even though this axle is a M8 by 128, only this radius of that base there is M8 by 125, while the thread pitch, not the pitch is the space between the threads, but the radius, it's much smaller. So I went to AutoZone, and they have like a board with a lot of holes that you try to like fit the axle in. It'll tell you what size or radius of that circumference is. So this is between 5/16 to 5/18. Exactly which one, I'm not sure, because that one hole at AutoZone specifically read 5/16 to through 5/18. So at one point between those two extremes, you won't be able to rotate no more. So what you can do, instead of getting a drill to drill a hole that is M8 by 125, you could technically get a M8 by a smaller number, much closer to the circumference of that hole. Why get a smaller hole or smaller drill? Well, once you put in a helicoil, that helicoil is not going to last forever. So when that goes out, you'll need to drill a bigger hole. If you keep drilling bigger holes, then the length between the opening and the bottom of the frame is going to be narrower. So if you think about it, the more weight you put there and the less support that there is, that can be very dangerous. You may get a crack on the frame, and you know what I'm saying. You want to refrain from doing that. But if you ever strip the threads from the hole in your frames, you can technically fix it. You start drilling through the outside, not through the inside of the frame, because the drill is not going to go through there unless you get a smaller drill head or bit. But it's okay to drill on the outside. You put the helicoil. They also have I think they call them inserts that are much more durable than a helicoil. But this is fine. One more thing about the helicoils is that you're gonna have to cut it with a plier that that they cut metal with, and you'll be able to have the correct length to fit in that hole from side to side without interrupting the circumference or the length of the wheel itself. That way the helicoil won't rub against the bearings. So we got that out of the way, and the bolts stripping out of the way. One more thing that I want to mention is you're going to have a lot of tools that bend on you and strip the inside of the axle. This tool that I have in my hand you can get at AutoZone or Ace Hardware, and it seems to be more durable, and it strips the threads or the grip on inside of the hole much less than the other tools. So now, if you bear with me, we're going to start taking out the bearings. Basically, I grab that same tool. Comes in handy if you tie it in. That way, when you flip it or take it out, the rest of the bits don't come out. So you just take it out, right? I wish I had 3 hands. Bear with me. So you take the tool, you grab it in a towel or something, right? So you have it like this, and we're going to put that in the hole right now. I need a tripod. Yeah, let's try this here. There we go. So you take the tool, wrap it around like that, stick the end in the hole. You don't want to be too rough because you'll scratch the inside wall of the bearing. And you just like break it out like this. Work it out, right? Until it basically comes out. You get a better position here and take it out. That came out. Other side. These are the Rollerblade ILQ9 bearings, and I want to show you the difference between those and the Twincam bearings. So these are the Rollerblade ILQ9 bearings. It has a rubber shield on one end and a plastic bearing ball holder, I guess that's what you call it, on the end, on the other side, as opposed to the Twincam bearings, where it has sort of like a metal or aluminum shield on one side and another one on the other side. Now, when you're putting this back together, take note that the clips that it has, you can see it there. If I turn the light off, it has clips that, or retainer clips, that hold the outside of the plate. One of them is bigger than the other one on the other side. Like the opening is bigger. So keep that in mind when you're putting them back together. Put the bigger opening on one side and then the smaller one on the other side. That way it will minimize the possibility of the plate or the shield rubbing against the inner bevel of the bearing, and if it's rubbing, it's not going to sit right. It just means that it causes friction, it won't spin freely. So that's one thing to keep in mind about the Twincam bearings that are double-sided shields. The retainer clip can affect the way that the plate or the shield sits on the bearing. With the Rollerblade LQ9, let me take the face off. Basically, I like to use one of these mechanics pick. You can find them at AutoZone or Amazon, or you can use a paper clip. I only have 2 hands. Oh my Jesus. Bear with me here. Perfect. So you're going to come in on the inner side of the shield and poke it a little bit. Be gentle on it. It just comes right out like that. Okay. Now let me show you what you do to take the bearings out. And by the way, my method of cleaning the bearings is not the best. If you really care about your bearings, then you want to read up on Reddit. There's a bunch of methods to clean them. I just use a towel and wipe it clean and put the speed cream from Reddit Bones right back into it. Or you can get some sewing machine oil, and it's actually faster than the speed cream. The only drawback is that with the sewing machine oil, you'll need to change those at least every 2 weeks or replenish it. So we're basically going to poke out the plastic part. Same drill. Just want to be gentle as well. I recommend you use a pen instead of this. Just push it down. Once the plastic part is out of there, the bearings are going to move. So be careful not to have them like rearrange themselves and make it possible for the inner part to come out. If the inner part comes out, then all the bearings go flying everywhere, right? So we got the plastic part out, and the way that you take out the bearings is by moving them to one side. So basically you grab whatever it is that you have in your hand and you move the bearing to one side like the rest of them are here. Okay. Okay, so now that they are on one side, then that will free up the middle piece. There we go. Once that's free, you clean this part. And by the way, when you put them back together, you want to make sure that the groove, if you look closely, you should see a groove near the top, right? That's where the rubber shield rests. Likewise, the inner cylinder, or whatever you want to call it, also have the same groove, see? As opposed to the other end where it doesn't have a groove. Same thing with the outer cylinder. That's the groove part. That's the non-grooved. They both need to be facing the same way when you put them together. If they're not, then when you put this back, it's not going to seat properly, and it's going to start rubbing again against one of the borders. So now that we are aware of that, this is how I clean my bearings. So, grab a towel or whatever, put your finger in it, and wipe it clean. Same with the other side. Been doing this for maybe 1 year now, no complaints. So that's clean. Be mindful to put the groove part facing down on the table. Now we take care of the inner cylinder. Same thing, wipe it clean. Grab your tool, wrap it around the towel, poke it. Clean. Other side of the towel has a better grip on it. Be mindful when you put it back that you put the groove part facing down into the table, as well as the outer bevel or cylinder. If they're facing down, going to grab the very clean towel, because now we're going to wipe clean the ball bearings. I really need 3 hands. You can see the ball bearings there. Just wipe them clean. If you want to go the extra mile, you get the proper equipment to clean them. I've been doing this for like a year, no complaints really. My style of skating is endurance and speed skating styles, and I really don't have any complaints about my bearings, cleaning them this way. So now I have them shiny again, put them back in there. This ILQ9 bearings have 6 ball bearings. So it's good to count them when you put them back in there, because if you have 5, then now you know that you're missing 1. So we drop the bearings back in there, put the cylinder back in the center, spread them out. I'll need my third hand for this. Bear with me just a second. I'm going to spread the bearings around. The table's not clean, so the bearings picked up some dirt. Going forward. There we go. So as you spread the bearings around the cylinder, everything gets aligned, right? Did I wash this? By the way, I was supposed to wash it. This one actually looks clean enough, so I'm going to wipe it with the towel also. What I do is I just use warm water and a toothbrush and I brush it and then dry it with the same towel. I'm going to skip part and I'm just going to wipe that clean. Just basically press it down like this against the towel. Okay. So now you just find the groove or the spot, right? Just press it down. And there he goes. Okay. Rubber shield, what I do is I also wipe it. And have the plastic part on it. Okay. Now we just put in 2 drops speed cream. By the way, the difference between the sewing machine oil, which lasts you maybe 2 weeks if you go out and do like 15 miles every day, this speed cream, this will last you like 2 to 3 months. So you don't need to change it as much. Oh my lord, it spilled a good chunk in there. You just want to put like 2 drops. 1, 2. Then you put the rubber shield. Be sure you shut up the group again, because now both of them are aligned. You can see the groove on the inner cylinder at the top and the outer one as well. And that's a clean bearing for you. Hydrogens, Rollerblade. Plastic part, rubber side facing out. Flip it, put the spacer back in there. By the way, you want to clean the spacer as well. Back to the towel and the tool. Wrap it around. Clean the face as well. And basically you want to repeat that process for the rest of your bearings, right? What else can I show you? You probably never heard of this Piper Thryve 110 millimeter wheels. They are about a 7 out of 10. The only drawback on these wheels is that these are 85A, by the way. When you're going like really slow, almost stationary, 1 mile an hour, they like to catch on little things that you normally take for granted, and that can make you trip and fall. So that's the only drawback on these wheels. I find that they last as long as the Hydrogens, the 86A Cymatic single-dual wheels, which are my favorite ones now compared to the Hydrogens. And you got your regular Hydrogen wheels, which are basically excellent wheels at 85A for everything, with the exception of sliding. You can slide on them depending on the type of skater, but if you want to slide easier, then you're gonna have to get the harder wheels, which is 86A, 87, 88, you know. But for a guy around my age, in the 40s, then I want to stick with 85A wheels. Okay, so we talked about the Pipers. Cymatic single dual wheels, they are fast as hell. Currently my favorite wheel. You can also slide on them real easy. That's the end of the video. If you stick around, I'm going to put the, well, let me just put one wheel here. That way I can show you what the modified frame looks like. See if I can get a better angle here. Okay. Hey, for the money that you're paying, this show is a banger, okay? By the way, if you notice, once you drill a bigger hole, you're not going to get a regular axle anymore. They have this, what do they call them? Hex bolts. And what you're looking for is one with a good height or length to the flange. I think that's what they call the flange. What size is this? This is a MA by 125 by 60 millimeters. the longer the length, the longer the flange length is. So I find that a 50 millimeter is going to only cover one bearing for you, and I'm going to show you that. See, if you put in 2 bearings, you'll think that it'll be enough, right? But you need to account the width of the frame itself there. So the width of the frame is actually half of a bearing. So you'll need to fit 3 bearings and a little bit to pop out of the other end, and that should be perfect for the size of this frame. Okay, so let me put that wheel back on there for you. I also got the washers, makes things a little bit easier. Right. If you don't know how to install a helicoil, by the way, you'll need to look up videos on that on YouTube. It's quite an easy procedure. They sell helicoil inserts on Amazon. You'll need to buy the kit. You can get them for like $11, $15. Okay, so now put a washer in there and the nut. You definitely want to put a nut because you do not want that bolt to like roll out or vibrate out of there. So basically that's it. Don't tighten it too much because then it'll like squeeze the frame in and it will create friction on the wheel. But happy skating. Thank you for watching.